Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from ESPN Cricinfo.
Test cricket kicks off in 2019. India and Australia all set for the fourth and final test at the Sydney Cricket Ground. This is ESPN Cricinfo Matchday's preview presented by Maruti Suzuki. And we're at the SCG where India stand at the brink of history. Can they hold on to a 2-1 lead? Can they further that and take the series down under? Will we see yet another fight back as we have seen in this series from Tim Paine's men? Dasgupta and Damien Martyn join me on the first ever show in 2019 on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday. Season's greetings, gentlemen. Let's go to you, Deep. We have a 13-man squad announced by India, which doesn't feature Ishant Sharma and features R. Ashwin, in spite of Virat Kohli stating that he wasn't quite as fit. They're going to give him one last chance just before the test to prove his fitness. But what do you make from that 13? That also includes Kuldeep Yadav and Umesh Yadav. We know Rohit Sharma, of course, going back. KL Rahul coming into the 13.
Ishant's exclusion is kind of understandable because he looked a little tired in the last test match, especially the second innings. He tried his best. He did his best. But yeah, maybe because of fatigue or whatever it is. But I'm also hearing that Shami might be a little sick or something. He might not be available also. So it's confusing. Looking at those 13, you want to go back to KL Rahul? Maybe not. I would still look at someone like maybe Ashwin if he's fit. Maybe play him in the middle order in place of Rohit and maybe Umesh in place of Ishant and not really touch the batting order too much.
Just before I go to Damien, if there was concerns around fitness or availability or good health, no Bhuvaneshwar Kumar even in the 13.
Yeah, that's surprising. Listen, Sydney, looking at the pictures of the pitch that I saw this morning, I mean, looks a little green, but we all know Sydney generally is a very good batting track. Spinners do get into the scene, especially in the last maybe 2-3 days. So maybe from that perspective, Bhuvaneshwar, whose strength is actually seaming or swinging the ball, I can understand that where that's coming from.
Okay, Damien, before I go to the Australian team, your thoughts on India's 13? They have named the left-arm wrist spinner in Kuldeep Yadav. We're seeing pictures of the Sydney pitch and the curator believing that it'll have a bit for everyone and it could take some turn as the test match progresses. Thoughts on whether India could play two spinners?
Yeah, I think they could, and I mean, maybe they will as well. I mean, we've seen these selectors, or the pitches really, haven't we? Who knows what's happening at the start of them. The same with Sydney. Sydney will turn as the game goes on. Spinners will come into it. And I think, Indian have great spinners, so I can imagine two playing, and the wicket will start off a little bit, have a bit of grass on it. It's been hot here in Sydney and hot today as well, so I think there's going to be a bit early on, and then as the game goes on, the spinners will come into it.
Okay, now let's see Deep's 11 from that 13 and see if he's made room for two spinners like Damien seems to suggest the team might do. And let's quick look at that. You've stuck to Ashwin if he's fit. Now the question is, if Ashwin isn't fit, will you play Kuldeep as the second spinner, or does that change calculations and will Umesh Yadav find a spot then?
I won't touch too much the batting order. I would still open with Hanuma and maybe look at Umesh Yadav as a third seamer, because two seamers and two spinners, and especially Ashwin coming out of injury, Shami, you hearing reports that he might not be too well. That would be cutting it too thin as far as the bowling unit is concerned. I think I'll go with the same batting order: Hanuma opening the innings and Ashwin in the middle order in place of Rohit, and getting in Umesh in. And the reason I want to get Umesh in is, as Marto just mentioned, it will help the spinners. That would mean the ball might be reversing as well. And Umesh, we all know, I mean, he's at his best when the ball starts reversing. So I would look at 5 bowlers in that case. As I mentioned, there are quite a few injury scares in that squad.
Okay, we'll have to just wait for the first hour or so before the test to know exactly what the 11 is. Now, this has also caused a little confusion, you could say, to the Australian 11, Damien Martyn, because Tim Paine saying still talks going on about the ideal team balance. Aaron Finch's spot under serious question. Manas Labuschagne is part of the setup. Does he get a game straight away?
Well, I've said no in my lineup, but I think he could do. I mean, when someone gets out of the squad like that at the last minute, and a youngster who does bowl some leg spin as well, does he come in? I think the problem with us has been our batting. Our bowling's gone well. It's just been our batting and Finch. I think Finch will play. I think the top order will stay the same. But maybe Marnus will come in and bat. He'll bat 6 and Marsh goes out just to give them a bit more strength in their batting if they feel he's a better batter, and also some part-time spin bowling to add to the team.
Let's have a look at your team. Then we just saw Marnus Labuschagne's stats. Plays for Queensland, his first-class cricket, but yet again it's a batting average of 33. Doesn't quite answer the questions that perhaps Australia have. So is that just about reshuffling the batting order? You've mentioned that you don't find place for Marnus Labuschagne, even if Tim Paine does, Damien. But what would be ideal? Would Aaron Finch find a more suited role for himself somewhere in the middle with a change in the batting order, either Marsh or Khawaja going up? Otherwise, it's pretty much the same side that you've picked.
Yes, I mean, I think coming the last Test match, I would keep Finch at the top. This is his chance then, almost the last chance to say open the batting and make runs at the top. I mean, Justin Langer spoke about that, keeping the same. Yes, Khawaja can open, Sean Marsh can open. But as you mentioned then, and it's come in the media, that it's been very hard to pick batsmen to come into the squad because there's not enough runs being made in the first-class comp. Joe Burns has done really well this year. He's averaging 47. But if he came in, he'd be top of the order. He's not part of the squad. So in a middle order sense, they've just struggled to find batsmen putting their hands up in first-class cricket to get picked.
Okay, quick look at what the SCG stats tell us in recent times about Test cricket, and you know as an Indian fan that you wouldn't mind the team batting first because that's given India's chasing record and whatnot in 2018 in the 4th innings. But the team batting first has won 2 and lost 1 in the last 5 tests. 2 tests were drawn. The average first innings score is above 400, so that bodes well for someone winning the toss. Average second innings score is not too far behind in 354. Damien, does this toss count as much now? If you were India, you'd really be hoping to bat first?
Yes, both teams winning the toss, as we see the stats. But I think batting first always helps. But batting first, and we saw at the MCG, you bat first, put runs on the board and big runs. It puts pressure on the side. Batting second, then batting fourth at the end of the Test match. And in Sydney, that becomes crucial.
Where's the pressure, Deep, on Australia, who look upon a first ever series defeat to India at home and have the job of fighting back, or on India, who are so close to creating history and they just need to see it through in one more test?
I think it'll be on both the sides, a little more on India because obviously going in, there were a lot of expectations from this Indian side, predominantly what the conditions are with Australian cricket of late. So, technically speaking, I think it'll be a little more pressure on the Indian side to kind of win this Test match and win the series. I mean, they've got their hands on the Border Gavaskar Trophy anyways, but the whole, there was a lot of optimism before this series about first time India winning in Australia. So I think, and especially with all the injury scares around. Just a quick one, if I may ask Marto about this, about the batting order. Would you like to see someone like Tim Paine coming up the order because he looked compact, he looked good against fast bowling and spin. So would you look at someone like Tim Paine at number 5, something like that, or maybe 4 or 5? And maybe Khawaja opening the batting and, Aaron Finch in the middle order.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, there's a few options, isn't there? They speak about if Warner comes back at the top of the order, when he does come back, that maybe Finch goes in the middle order as well. So there's a lot of options there, as you have mentioned. I sort of just feel that last Test match, do they try and do that? Do they mix it around, or do they give it one more shot of what's going on, depending on the Test matches coming up? But you're right, they could be matched around. Tim Paine's quality. We even saw Cummings as well, didn't the way he batted. But it depends on what Tim Paine wants, and I just feel maybe they'll just go the same batting line at this Test match.
All right, gentlemen, absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us to preview this 4th and final Test, which of course begins in Sydney on Thursday.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and leave your comments in the comment section below. Click on the bell icon for notifications.